Hello, hello, hello. I am Reverend Phillip from the Church of the Latter-day Dude. The Dude abides. Welcome to the Dudeist Journey podcast. We are an official ministry, 501c3 tax exemption and all that good stuff. So welcome, folks. Welcome here to the show. Glad to have you with us. Glad to have you. Grab a smoke, grab a drink, and join me. Thank you all for joining me here today on this nice, fine day. We're going to try and take it easy today. Because Lord knows it's been a tough time, and Daddy needs a drink. Oh, Johnny Walker makes me a talker. Okay, so, folks, thank y'all here for joining up on the show. It's your first time. This is Dudeism. Dudeism is a form of Taoism or Taoism, depending on how you pronounce it. And it's just the art of peace, man. That's all we're trying to do. I take religion, science, philosophy, and I put them all together and try to find the connections and ways that we can work it together. While, Dudeism tends to be more of a philosophy than a religion, we do have that 501c3 status there, sir. So, if you want to make a donation to the show, please reach out. Check out any of the social media pages under Reverend Phillip, and I can get you going. But you are technically listening to an online ministry right now. So this is your church. Didn't have to go to a building, didn't have to spend any money, and we don't make you feel guilty. All right, let's go. Now, if you've been following me on social media or any of the social media pages out there or anything, I've been posting videos from Alan Watts. Alan Watts is a dude. He preached Taoism during the 50s and 60s, and very, very cool dude. And so I found some inspirational speeches of his, just little snippets, and I was sharing them online. And sure enough, numbers kind of grew, and I caught the attention of the Alan Watts organization. And they said, hey, this video you got posted that's got like 1 million views, it's not actually Alan, it's AI. So I apologized about it and said, I can remix it and do my voice. But the thing is that unlike other people who take Alan's voice and use it to promote their channels, at the end of my videos, I started putting learn more at alanwatts.org. I started putting them towards the authentic Alan Watts organization that had all his original lectures and stuff. So I'm trying to basically get a spot on the team, and I actually got info to say, look, you need to email one of the people who run alanwatts.org, which are his descendants, his children and grandchildren. So here's an email. You're going to contact them, pitch it to them, and see what they think. So I got to start doing that here soon. Oh, yes, sir. Yes. I've also been doing a stand-up. I have my stand-up show coming up on March 8th. But we got this shitty time. It's at 4:30 p.m. because it's a show from a class. So they're like, we don't have a lot of faith that anyone's going to come to this shit. So I'm trying to get people to go, but I can't get any comp tickets because once again, tickets are like $15 and they're just like, we don't think anyone's coming. So I started advertising that we're giving away free drugs to anyone who comes to the show. And I have a bunch of single-serving Tylenol packets in a box. So I'm like, here's your free drugs, man. Come on. And by the way, you don't get them till the end of the show, right? You got to stay through the whole show to get the free drugs, okay? You got to earn it. All right? But been working on that, but working on the stand-up, being a stand-up preacher, so to speak. I'm trying to preach the word of Dudeism while also trying to make people laugh. I'm one of those folks that my whole life I've been told to do stand-up, so I just started doing it. So if you follow me on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, Reverend Phillip, you'll find me. And then I've got clips of my stand-up and clips from Alan Watts and my podcast here. So I'm trying to kind of get things flowing and make sure everything's all good with the Alan Watts org and with myself. But I got to tell you, man, when I posted the Alan Watts stuff, I get comments from people that are like, thank you for posting this. This is like a message from God. I've listened to this 100 times. Thank you. This directed me to the Alan Watts organization. I've listened to 10 hours of his lectures. Thank you for this. It's helping me. And that's awesome. That's the effect you want to have on the world, dude. You know what I mean? And it's fucking awesome that's happening. I hope to kind of push it more and do that more. And but but what's funny is that the comments on my comedy are so fucking rude. I swear to God, they're like unfunny. Oh, you're some bullshit comic trying to be hip or something. The silence was deafening after your punchline. One comment was that joke was so bad I couldn't even hear the crickets. Like, damn, dude. Damn, shit. Kick me into balls. Fuck. Like, Jesus. I'm telling jokes, man. I thought we had got to the point that if you don't like something, you keep scrolling. Because, like, with the Alan Watts stuff, I posted some stuff that he said about Christianity, which kind of got 1 million views. And, about how his Jesus's teachings was more about, like, heaven is within you and God is within you. And it's not so much in a building. And, people have separated all that. And so, of course, people are calling me a heretic, blasphemer. I get a few of those comments, but those comments are 5%, literally 5%. And I delete them. I'm sorry, but it's like, if you want to argue about religion, go to Dan McClellan. Okay. That guy is a biblical nerd. He'll argue with you all fucking day long, man, but I'm not doing it. Okay. You post negative shit, telling me to read the Bible. It's like, okay, which one, bitch? Because I've read about 5 different versions of the Bible. Have you? Probably not, you ignorant cunt, so fuck off, okay? Don't bring your fucking negative energy over to my shit, okay? We're beyond that. You see something you don't like, keep fucking scrolling. You'll find something you do, okay? Social media tends to be an echo chamber, so have fun, all right? But the main thing I've been dealing with that's been really tough, I'll have to admit, is so I'm an author. I'm an indie author. I self-publish my books. Not ashamed of that. I'm actually kind of proud of it. Because I spent years trying to get an agent and sending in query letters and all that crap, and it was just a waste of time because all the books that I read about getting published just basically give you a blueprint on how to get an agent. Why? Because the book was written by a fucking agent. That's why. And agents are bullshit. I mean, you honestly, unless you're making like $1 million, you don't need a fucking agent. It's bullshit. Agents don't do crap. Even if they get you a publishing deal, who cares? The marketing is on your end. You've got to go out and you've got to push that book and you got to hustle and you got to advertise. I've seen the publishing contracts from certain artists and like the marketing was like $150. Are you fucking kidding me? How the fuck are you going to sell anything with a budget of $150? Oh, man. But as an indie author, something happened that just fucked me up. I'm going to need 2 drinks for this motherfucker. I'm going to need a double and triple for this shit. So some news came out recently in the publishing world of indie authors, and that is Coral Hart, H-A-R-T. Coral Hart wrote 200 books in a year using AI. And she used 21 different pen names. Now, she ended up, right? So she wrote these 200 books, right? Put them all out underneath these pen names, and she sold 50,000 copies collectively and made over $100,000. Now, for any indie author, that is a fucking dream come true. But the fact that she did it the way she did it raises a lot of questions. So it's caused me and a lot of other writers to kind of be like, what the fuck? So now even best-selling writers who condemned AI are now taking courses from her. And here's the thing, Coral Hart isn't even her fucking name. It's another goddamn pseudonym because she doesn't want to fuck up her sales. Because the moment she puts in that their AI was used to make the book, the sales go down. So yeah, I'm dealing with that shit. I'm over here. It takes me 6 months to a year to write a fucking novel, and this bitch is punching them out in 45 minutes. And that right there tells me that she's not reading the books. She's literally just completely relying on the AI. And I've tested AI. And AI, I got to tell you, like, I took a chapter, loaded up to one of these, because there's these AI programs that'll write a whole fucking novel just based on your premise. So I went in and I was like, let me try one of these, and I'm just going to take one chapter, I'm going to load it up. Here's my first draft, write the second draft. But I told it to only reference my books and books in the public domain, so that way it would be a little more ethical. Now, what I got was, I got to tell you, 50% was shit. It kept using the same word over and over again. It kept using the same phrases and shit. And it changed characters' names, added things that weren't there. Like the whole thing, like the whole scene takes place in 1903. And for some reason, someone has a laptop they're hooking up to a website. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? It used the word terrifying 12 times in 20 pages. Terrifying. Everything was terrifying. The dreams were terrifying. Their thoughts were terrifying. The cup of tea on the fucking table was terrifying. It was like, what the fuck? Like, if she's adding, in my opinion, she's just adding to the AI slop that we tend to preach against. Like I said, there's ethical ways to use it. But at the end of the day, you still have to write the book. And if you're just copy and pasting from AI, dude, Jesus Christ. Because me, even if I'm speed reading, it takes me about a day to get through a novel. And if she's publishing these out in 45 minutes, well, then she's not reading them. So this brings up a lot of problems and complications. However, it's done a couple of things for me. Because when shit like this happens, I try not to get angry. I try to look at it from, like I said, having, being a certified computer programmer, I can say I immediately look at it from a programming standpoint. And I'm like, okay, so she's using it this way. She's using these large language models that are pulling from copyrighted material that are being sued. OpenAI is being sued for using copyrighted material to train their programs. And me, I'm like, hey, man, just stick to the public domain because there's a ton of reference material there. Or stuff that's labeled free to use by the creator. A bunch of people write books and music and videos, and they put them out there free for anyone to use. So it's difficult right now with the whole thing. But it like I said, it told me a couple things. The first thing it told me is that if you want to succeed in an author in this business, it's quantity, not quality. You write one good book, no one gives a shit. Because like I was told when I first started, like they were like, look, you got to write 12 books. So that right there proves the quantity over quality thing. And 6 of those books have to be in a series and all that fucking shit. So I get what she's doing, and that made me think that, okay, I understand that I have to have more books before I can even imagine of making a living of any kind. The second thing this taught me was that I got a huge confidence boost. It's like, hey, if this bitch is using AI shit to write her book and just throwing it out there, fuck, my writing can't be that bad. Shit. I was like, fuck. I feel a little better about myself. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. And so, yeah, so in some of my stand-up, when you guys ever get to see it, so, like, I have this part where, like, I joke about my looks. I joke about dating, and I joke about how I look. Now, in the last podcast, I joked about this, and I talked about how I need to dress up. But then I go and I do a podcast about loving yourself for how you are. So sure enough, someone commented, was like, dude, practice what you preach, man. And you know what? You're right. And I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't changed the way I look, why I still dress the way I dress. Because I'm like, hey, girl, if you can't love me for me, keep walking. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is how I dress. This is who I am. If you're not cool with that, fuck off. I don't need you. It's just going to help me weed out the bad ones because I'm happy with me. So I think that's why subconsciously I keep dressing the way I dress and I haven't changed anything about myself. Because at the end of the day, I'm happy with me. I'm whole. I'm complete. I don't need you. I want you, but I don't need you. That's the difference. I don't need a relationship. I want a relationship. That's the difference there. And what I've learned by being single and hanging out with women is that, hey, man, if a woman wants to be with you, she'll be with you. So if you're with a lady and you're talking to her and you're hanging out and, helping her out and all this stuff, it's all good, But it's like, I have discovered, and this is true from my single friends, they're like, if a woman says, like, hey, you ask her out, and she says, yeah, I'd love to go out, but I'm busy right now. Well, then she's never going to go out with you. Because it's the truth, man. If a woman wants to date you, she'll date you. Women have all the power now. I mean, Woman can walk outside and trip on a dick. It's like they got all the options. They have a lot more power. And so if any woman out there is lonely, it's like, well, girl, shit. Maybe you want to be lonely because fucking there's dicks everywhere. It's like, shit. Oh, God, it's like ordering a Domino's pizza. It's there 30 minutes or less, and you'll get your dick hot, stiff, and ready to eat. Mm-hmm. And my buddy of mine, he saw one of my stand-up clips talking, making fun of myself. And he said, hey, man, don't be hard on yourself. There's a lot of girls out there that want a bald, bearded dude with a dad bod. What? Like, that made me feel worse. Like, god damn, man. Like, I know you're trying to help, but fuck, shit. Dad bod. Oh, fuck. I got a dad bod? Fuck, I don't want to get on stage ever again. Like, I'm over here doing sit-ups and shit, and like trying to get rid of it. Sorry, Daddy can't have cookies tonight because I'm a bald bearded dude with a dad bod, apparently. I was like, oh, fuck. I mean, I know he was trying to be nice, but god damn. I was like, I feel worse. Oh, God, that is the fun of being me right there. Mm-hmm. But, stand-up videos are fun and everything, and trying to get more stuff out there and talk about more stuff. Like I got to make a video about going to an open mic recently, and Coral Hart and her whole fucking thing that I just talked about. It's a crazy world out there, man. It's a crazy world. And while I've been looking at all of this, I've been thinking about belief, which is the subject of today's sermon. Belief is it's a crazy thing, man, because we all got different beliefs. And sometimes we're a little bit too hardcore about our beliefs, if you know what I mean. Now, if we look at the actual definition of belief, right, like we break it down scientifically, belief is a mental acceptance of a premise or an idea as true, acting as a cognitive, often subconscious framework for interpreting reality. Think about that for a second, man. Interpreting reality. Your beliefs can interpret your reality. And there's these 5 points that psychologists have put together about beliefs to help us understand them more. And I think it's important too, because some people will have beliefs that, like, this person over here is my enemy just because I was taught that way. Not that it's true, but I have been given this premise or idea as true. And so it is now embedded in my subconscious as reality. So let's talk about that and think about it and work into it. So one of the first ways that people tend to shape their reality by their belief is when it's shaped by emotion. Whatever social upbringing and the brain's need to navigate the complex world, that right there is your emotions. And that emotions can shape your belief, and your belief can shape your emotions. So when you look at your brain's need to navigate the complex world, that makes our beliefs resistant to change, even when evidence is contradictory. And one example I like to give is the people who believe the earth is flat. And we have to kind of think, where do we cross the line or refuse to cross when we get to these situations? So we have a group of people that believe the earth is flat. And even when they do tests to prove the earth is flat, it ends up proving the earth is somewhat round. And these people, even after doing the tests, even after looking at the evidence, they don't change their beliefs. They instead say maybe something was wrong and maybe the test was wrong. And so they go through and they do all this other stuff instead. They refuse to just accept that, hey, maybe the earth is round. Is that such a horrible idea? But it's their emotion. They've bought into this, that the earth is flat, and so they believe it's flat. Their beliefs are putting there in there, and it's all shaped by emotion now, because even though the facts are contradictory, they refuse to change. This is one of the reasons why I've kind of always been a friend of science, is because science will change. There was a time when science didn't believe in germs. And when a scientist brought it to their attention that, yes, there are germs and we need to do something about it, we need to wash our hands in between seeing patients and make sure we're sterile, they threw him in a nut house. And it wasn't until years later that they invented the right, more powerful microscopes that they could actually prove these germs existed. And that's kind of what we're dealing with here, in some cases. But now that we have all of this scientific information and we have all of these tools at our disposal, people just don't want to change. They don't want to change their beliefs. Because once again, it's the emotion. A lot of people I know, man, when it comes to changing their beliefs, they just don't want to look stupid. They don't want to look like they got fooled, like someone pulled the wool over their eyes. They don't want to think that they've spent all this time and money on something that wasn't real. And just as Carl Sagan once said, people who have been bamboozled would rather try to find proof that the bamboozle was true than just admitting the fact they got bamboozled. People, it's just how folks are. It's kind of sad, man. It's kind of sad. But anyway, it leads me into the second point, which is called, about belief, which is called homeostasis. And that means basically maintaining stability. So you have a structure around a natural resistance to change. So let's think about that. So you have like low parts to your brain, right? So the breathing, your heart rate, your blood pressure, that's all maintained in kind of the lower parts, right? Your belief helps maintain them instinctually for survival. And so that, once again, that's the lower part. Okay. So that's just instinct, You see something scary, you get the fuck out of there. Okay. Someone tries to threaten you, you fight, right? So that's really the lower part. Now, the higher part of your brain or your consciousness is all about reacting, learning, and adapting. So while you're trying to maintain certain beliefs, this is dangerous, this is not, this is okay, this is good, this is bad, and all of that, what does it take to change a belief? Well, you've got to use the higher parts of your brain. And that takes more time and more effort and more energy. We experience cognitive dissonance because it's like it's easier to double down on the current belief than it is to make the effort to change them. Okay? Like I said, people would rather find some kind of proof that the bamboozle is true than just admit that, yeah, I got bamboozled. To change your belief requires you to go against what you've been taught or told. And some people just don't want to do that because when they do that, it will alienate them from the others that are still maintaining the belief. And when that happens, that goes down into another part, which is the sense of self. Okay? You definitely probably have a sense of self. I hope you do. But what happens with the sense of self when it comes to beliefs is that the beliefs are intertwined with who we are. So people will say, well, I'm a Christian, or I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. Suddenly, their self is tied in with their beliefs. And so this falls into what's known as self-representation. So you have this consistent behavior, sort of aligning with beliefs, constantly rationalizing your actions to preserve this image that you have. Like, for instance, being the perfect Christian or the perfect, person or whatnot. And the people around you, the people structure their lives around their belief system, their finances, their career. Everything is based around their beliefs. And to change that would be too much for them. So to change their sense of self, it's like to change themselves, and some people just don't want to do that. It contradicts things, and it frightens them. And it's, and I understand that. I get it, just as anyone would. What I always try to tell people is that, once again, if you find some evidence or proof, you can always shift, change, or alter your beliefs. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to destroy anything, you know? It's the truth, man. And when you get that sense of self and the self-representation and the people around you, that falls into the social dimension, which is where, you learn your beliefs early. They're implanted, your parents, your family, teachers, the authorities, the religious authorities, the educational authorities, they all kind of put in some early beliefs in you. So as children, we are predisposed to believe that our parents are right. Our parents are basically God. And they, we seek their approval and their love, and they just mean everything to us. And because of that, it sort of promotes in ourselves this sort of group cohesion that we have to be part of the group. We have to fall in line and do as we're told. And from that, what happens in those social areas and that social dimension is that some folks become susceptible to influence from charismatic ideologies and social movements, preachers that say, hey, give me all your money and you'll be blessed by God, kind of a thing. And for us to kind of break away from that society that we know, to take on some kind of new attachment, some new form of self-esteem, some new sense of purpose, that can cause a huge disruption. If your parents are taking you to see some healing preacher and you can prove that the healing preacher is bullshit, suddenly now you've destroyed that social dimension and you've stepped outside of it. You're no longer one of the sheep following all of the others to the slaughter. You're like, hey, we're going to a slaughterhouse. We need to stop and turn around. And that can cause issues. That can cause problems. Even when you're right. Like I said, like the scientists who discovered germs. It's tough, man. It's tough. And which leads down into the fifth point that they make in psychology about beliefs is that there's a science and, proving yourselves wrong. See, science is based on evidence, whereas belief is based on faith, which has no evidence. When you believe in something, you have faith in something, you're believing it with no evidence or proof. Now, with the advancement of science and the advancement of progress, the key to progress is to discovering your mistakes, Like I said, doctors didn't wash their hands between dealing with a corpse and then delivering a baby, and it led to multiple deaths. And so when a scientist said, there are these germs we need to clean, they threw him in the fucking nut house. But the fact is, he was right. They learned about germs and they changed their ways, and the hospitals became more sterile. They became more sanitary. So when science comes along and kind of changes up your beliefs, you have to be open to that change. And some people just are not. They'll just lock down and load. Now, I'm not trying to start a debate. Okay, I'm not Dan fucking McClellan over here trying to get you, to correct your bullshit and start something. I'm not a biblical scholar. I'm not in that way. What I try to do is I try to find ways to show you that science is actually enforcing and encouraging your beliefs. Now, when science comes along and says, hey, this isn't necessarily true or particularly true, some of us, we'll stick our head in the sand. But those of us that understand belief and the power of it, we will look at what comes and we will be able to adapt. It's like, oh, well, there's no scientific evidence that God exists. Yeah, but not yet. Because if you want to prove God exists, you'll, use the latest scientific minds to create new technology that can help prove that God exists. But it's just gonna take time. We're just not there yet. But we could be. If we, took some of Joel Osteen's money so he doesn't have to, get another Ferrari or some shit or whatever the fuck he spends his money on, and we could use that towards it, we could probably prove it, within our lifetime, but that doesn't always happen. Once again. But I am one person that it's like, if I have a certain belief and then you come along with evidence and proof that that belief is wrong, I'll change my belief. You know, but once again, there's some beliefs that are hard to change. Like, I've gone through deep meditation. I have seen the afterlife. So I believe the afterlife exists. Can I prove it scientifically? No, I'm not a scientist, but I can try to go through the books and try to be like, hey, this is where I believe scientifically we can prove it. But once again, that's going to take time. And of course, I need facts, I need evidence in order to help change people's beliefs. Once again, just for the better. It's not so much an I told you so type of situation. It's just so we can learn more about who we are in the universe and the cosmos and, where we're headed. Now, while we talk about beliefs and think about beliefs, why don't we go and take 5 minutes on the clock, just 5 minutes, to take some quiet time to think about our beliefs, who we are, where we're going, and what it is we want our beliefs to say about us. Let's go ahead and take that 5 minutes, and we'll go ahead and we'll start that 5 minutes right now. All right, and we're back. And now, I just want to take a quick moment on the subject of belief to tell you just a quick little story. So in the 1970s, there was this school teacher that wanted to be an author. He had written a couple of short stories and gotten them published in magazines, and he really wanted to become a full-time author so he could support his family. Well, a publishing house had this contest that if you send in their book, so you send in your book, then they would read it, and if they liked it, they would give you a publishing contract. So the teacher worked very hard to complete his book, and he sent it in. And the publishing house rejected it. Yeah, he lost. So the teacher took a second job at the school where he worked as a janitor to help support his family. And while he was working as a janitor, he got an idea for another book. So he went home and he wrote about 4 pages on this old typewriter that he had. And he looked at the 4 pages and said, this is terrible. No one's going to like the character. I don't like the character. This book, it would never sell. No one's ever going to want it. And he crumpled up the pages and he threw them away. Now, the teacher's wife, God bless her, pulled those pages out of the trash. She read them, and she went to her husband and said, "You've got something here. You just need to change the perspective, the female perspective," which the main character was female. So she's like, "Let me give you some help here." So the teacher, based on his wife's advice, went and wrote this novel. He sent it to an editor that he knew that he'd worked with, and the editor loved it. And then the editor got a publishing deal, and the publisher loved it, and they put out the book, and it sold a lot of copies and was a huge success. And the teacher ended up getting around what in today's dollars would be about $500,000. Life-changing money. That teacher's name was Stephen King. And as of this recording, Stephen King has written over 100 novels and short stories and has inspired writers all over the world, has had dozens of films and television shows adapted from his work, and he's currently worth over $400 million. But look what it took. One person, just one person to believe in him. And by the way, his wife's name is Tabitha King. So whenever you say, "I love Stephen King," you need to take a moment and thank Tabitha King. Because if it were not for the belief of Tabitha King in her husband, we would not have the Stephen King we have today. So believe. Use the power of your belief. If you can believe in a God that you've never met or seen, then surely you can believe in yourself and your talents and what you bring to the table and what you can do to help better the world. And I hope you do. That's my time, folks. I'm Reverend Phillip. This is the Dudeist Journey Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you next time.